Welcome to Ladies of Another View on Beck, right here out of Bismarck. I am joined with Jan today and Carmen, and you will notice someone new on the end. Well, today she is a guest, but she is going to be a future host, a co-host right here. It is Bee Streifel. So big shout out to Bee.
Welcome.
So excited.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
exciting to have an extra and have more diverse panel here just to get more opinions and just make it a better show. We just continue to strive to make this the best show out there for you viewers. Anyway, today we're going to talk a little bit about what had happened last night. And I am from District 31, so we had our meeting months ago. But I understand that there was a little bit of a activity at District 7 last night, and a couple of you were actually there. And there's all kinds of things streaming, whether it's on social media or if it's on the radio. There's all kinds of information and misinformation out there. So I thought, why not just go ahead and try to clarify everything? So I guess, Jan, you were there?
Yeah, I went there in order to learn and to find out about the process, and ended up getting elected for a position last night. It was a lot of fun. But there was a lot of things that happened that I have a lot of questions about, and we couldn't get answers during the meeting, and some things felt really, really unfair. In the beginning of the meeting, since in past years, the entire district reorganizational meeting had voted at large, which means all the members that were registered members of that district that were able to vote for the executive committee. Last night they broke them into precincts, but I had made a motion at the beginning stating that I prefer that they do it at large so that everybody had a voice. That was shut down right away. They told me that if I was not a member of the committee already, that I couldn't even make the motion. So I don't know. What they said, it worked. It shut me down.
Well, and here's the deal. There's so many people that that have, I don't want to use the word woke because to me that has a negative.
Awakened?
There are more that have been awakened to the process, the political process. And if people don't start speaking up, then the same thing happens continually. And so I guess there's people that want to make changes, and you go there as a learning lesson, and it's great that we just continue to learn, whether it's right or wrong, but then we have to find out what the truth is. Now, Bee, you were there as well, weren't you?
I was, yes. Not as a member of District 7, but just as a bystander.
Because they're open to the public, right?
Well, it is a public meeting. There was a public notice put out, but for some reason last night was not open to the public. There was actually an elderly couple who came in, and the lady was a member of District 7, but her partner who drove her there and was there to accompany her was barred from entering the meeting.
Because?
He's not a member of District 7. I don't know if they were afraid he was going to try to sneak a vote in, but we all get, at these meetings, you get a name tag. It's very clear, especially if it's a precinct district, it's very clear that you're a member of the district and what precinct you're a member of, and if you don't have the name tag, you're not allowed to vote.
You don't get a ballot.
So that would seem easy enough.
Correct. Jared Hendricks was on our program yesterday, and I had invited him to the meeting because he is so knowledgeable. He is the chairman of District 38 up in Minot, and so I said, I'd like to understand the process more. Can you please come and, explain how things are supposed to go to me and the like, and they wouldn't let him in the building.
Why?
What did they think that he was going to do to the integrity of the meeting? I approached both Representative Kelly Armstrong, who was there, who is also not a member of the district but was allowed in, and one of the current members of the executive committee, the name I believe is Retha Mathern, and they told me that they were protecting the integrity of the election. And I said, well, I wanted outside observers in there to protect the integrity of the election. And they just kept repeating the same phrase over and over. Actually, Representative Armstrong just walked away, and the other person from the executive committee just kept repeating herself. It was like a droning on of the same information like we hear on mass media. And it was very disheartening to not be heard. It was just
Well, Carmen had a good question when she asked why. Why would Jared Hendricks have been banned from the meeting or barred from the meeting? Why were some people not allowed entrance into the meeting? And it begins to look like that they were allowed to have a parliamentarian for their side, but and there shouldn't even be sides. This is not a partisan thing. We're all the Republican Party. So if they consider that they need a parliamentarian for their side, and if we had a parliamentarian that we could have had give us some information about the right and the wrong, when you were told that you could not make the motion from the floor because only the district committee could do that, the executive committee, I have scoured the bylaws, and it is not in the bylaws.
No, it is not.
So that was misinformation, and that shut your motion down, and it took your vote away from the floor.
Yes.
Like it took your motion away from the floor, and it took away the vote of the people.
Is there somewhere where there's a separate set of rules outside the bylaws, other than Robert's rules or any of that? Is there somewhere where there's an official something for each district that puts that into the mix as far as how your meetings are run? And I don't know that answer.
There is the North Dakota Century Code, and if you refer to your district bylaws and you don't get the answer in your district bylaws, and then you refer to the North Dakota Century Code, and the state has said that they really don't have a whole lot of control over the districts, so you really should run your meetings by your district bylaws. That's what they're for.
We did not even have our chairman running our meeting. The bylaws clearly state that the chairman of the district is supposed to run the meetings, and when the chairman can't be there, the vice chairman should take over. The vice chairman did not take over. They chose some other independent, we'll call them, person from the district to come up and run this meeting. Now, I don't know if they thought that their chairman was not capable of doing so, or he thought he would be shut down in some way. But
The D7 bylaws actually say the district chair must preside over the meeting. And if for some reason the chairperson is not available, the vice chair will preside. And both of those people were there last night. It's as simple as that. When the chair appointed a member from the district and referred to him as a nonpartisan, that was interesting, because why would you refer to someone as nonpartisan when we're all Republicans
Yes.
and we're all there for the same reasons? But that should have set off some alarms right there. But it was eventually obvious that the person that they selected to run the meeting was a precinct member and also a lobbyist. And so there was multiple lobbyists in the room, and it just felt like it was a meeting run by lobbyists last night.
yeah.
Okay, so in less than a minute, there was also some allegations that there was some name calling going on. Tell me about that.
There was zero name calling within the meeting itself. Now, if there were some people outside the meeting that made comments, I went back and referred to the video that everybody on social media was talking about, and the word Nazi did come up in it, but there was no profanity, and it was kind of indicative of Nazi-like behavior. It was not.
I want to say that some of the stuff that happened prior to the meeting has not been put out there, has not been made evident. I know there was a program that was on this morning that did not refer to any of these things, but the bylaws were refused to the people. There was multiple other things that there was misinformation about the meeting time. The current chair actually crashed a planning event by the possible chair candidate and interrupted the meeting.
All right, well, it sounds like there's more to learn about this whole process.
Right.
Coming up next, we're going to talk to an author of a book called ABCs for Patriots. Don't miss out on it. Coming up next on Ladies of Another View on Back.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Watch No Filter with me, Debbie Schlussel, for no-nonsense, unfiltered analysis of the news that matters to you. You'll see engaging guests.
It began a 444-day nightmare.
Entertaining analysis. And it has everything to do with something that happened in history. And honest movie reviews. Trust me, this is just atrocious. No Filter with Debbie, weeknights at 10 p.m. Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county.
Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. Patty has jumped back into the seat on the end, so we're glad to have you here.
Musical
Patty.
chairs here today.
Yeah. Every day is different, and that's what we like about the show in general. We always have different opinions, different people, and it's just great to have it that way. We are being joined by Breanna Demarais, and she is a new author right here in North Dakota. She wrote a book called ABCs for Patriots. Breanna, are you there?
I'm here.
Awesome. Well, here is one of the pages from your book. A is for the American flag. I guess I should maybe start out by saying we got a letter from your mother. She wrote a letter and said that my daughter wrote this book about patriots, or the ABCs for Patriots, and she said that her mother watches, and maybe is it her mother or mother-in-law? One of them lives up in Winnipeg, and tries to watch the show. We do get it. We can stream it, by the way. So anyway, it was just so interesting. She said, we all love your show, but you have to talk to my daughter because she is an author of this book, and she sent me a copy of the book. And so this is the copy of the book that you wrote. Tell me a little bit about why you decided this was needed right now.
Well, it's kind of funny because I've been actually introducing the book as a product of my frustration, but that's not entirely true. I have 2 little girls, and we're reading storybooks all the time, ABC books, and I kind of noticed there's this glaring lack of in their books. There's nothing that is like, even at their young age, there's nothing that's starting them on this this patriotic path, if you want, that's what you want to call it. Right. The thing is, I really want to teach them the work ethics that I was raised with. So like integrity and hard work. And I just noticed that, society doesn't care about them like I do. And I don't want society to tell them otherwise. So this is kind of my job to teach them. And this is just another tool that I can use just to raise them with those values. And I think it's really important that that we see this issue of anti-American propaganda that's out there right now. And I don't want them to feel bad for having patriotic views.
Great. So there was another couple pages I just wanted to pop up on the screen. I didn't want to reveal the entire book because I want people to buy it, but there was a double page. Okay, that's the A, and then there was another one after that.
I do have it here with me, so I can.
Okay, the rest of them didn't come through.
Didn't populate.
But anyway, so why don't you just, if you could, the Z was, hold up the Z page. That one is pretty prophetic. Z is for zoo, and it says, I will circle back to that. All right? So the entire book, just open up to another random page there, Breanna. L is for Lady Liberty, and M is for military. Okay.
Nice.
Wow.
All right. But there were some that were, let's go up with the X. The X one was really interesting.
My favorite.
It is. X is for Biden's excuses.
Oh, perfect.
So honestly, the entire book is full of, it's a little bit on the sarcastic side because it's 100% truthful is what's, it is very spot on. And then on the back cover of the book, just hold up the back cover for us if you would. It's the Pledge of Allegiance. Now that is something that has been taken out of a lot of schools, and it is something that if they're not going to learn it at school, they need to learn it at home, so that they can say it when they're at an event and they're expected to say the Pledge of Allegiance. And I will say this, well, no, I won't say that. We'll say that another time. But anyway, just open up another page, Breanna. It's just killing me.
Oh, let's see. I think.
Okay. F is for fake news.
And G is for God.
And G is for God. And that's why the whole book is like that. So I just want people to know that you can go ahead and buy the book. You can get it through Amazon, but if you don't want them to get a percentage of the sales, where else can they find it, Breanna?
If they want to contact me personally, I can be reached at my email. I think you have it listed there below. So,
Breanna Demarais at hotmail.com. Or Breanna M. Demarais. Is there an M in there?
Yes, there's an M in there.
Okay. Yep. So that's really interesting. So what kind of response have you gotten from the book, Breanna?
You know, I've received a lot of great responses locally. I've sent it out to a few North Dakota TikTok creators, and they've kind of helped get the word out there, and all of them have been so amazing. I've gotten so many great words. Now, I did publish a video on TikTok that didn't do so well. I've gotten a couple negative comments, but we're rolling with it, so.
Well, and that's just it, though. I guess when you're supporting patriotism, you're going to find that there are a lot of people out there that are against it and against anyone who wants to be patriotic. Right. So to me, you just take them with a grain of salt. An old Native American friend of mine once told me, he said, take the best of the good and discard the rest. And so if someone's negative about your book, you're doing something right. Because there are many of us think you're on the right page for that.
You know, and when I think of books that I've seen in school libraries, some of them that are revised fairy tales and things like that, like The Three Pigs, I remember going through and seeing where they totally rewrote it, and it was all about how, you know, the poor guy, the wolf just was, you know, he was a victim, and all the pigs needed to do was friend him and make him a friend and love him, and then everything was great, and they could all live together happily ever after. But that's not a bad thing, but I mean, it kind of totally wasn't the book. But in any event, have you tried to infiltrate any of the school libraries? I shouldn't use that word, but I just wonder how schools would receive your book. Have you approached any of them?
I haven't. I don't think any of them would respond positively, but I could definitely try. I can reach out to a few people.
So do you homeschool, or are your kids in the public school system?
I have a daughter who's old enough to be in preschool, but they are not in the public school system right now. They will be one day.
I love that the book description says that it contains reference. It's a warning sign. You know how you have warning labels? You have a warning label that this contains mention of God, guns, and traditional values. Like, look out, look out, in case you're going to be offended by that. Who did the artwork for your book?
I actually purchased the stock images, and then I just kind of compiled them all into the book, and
It's so cute from what we've seen, and I love the circle back. You are funny. You know, this is very humorous. And when you're a parent reading books to your kids, you like to be entertained too. Those are like everybody's favorite books. And I love the circle back because I was listening on the news today, and the reporter in DC commented on whenever she's told that she's, you know, they're going to circle back. She says they never do. She never hears back from anybody. They're
Right.
once.
Right.
It's just a way to cut somebody
All
off.
right. Well, I think it's a great book that people should buy for their kids, their grandkids. It makes a great gift, and just reach out to Breanna at her email address again. We want to thank you for being on the show today. Thank you, Breanna, and keep up the great work.
Delightful.
Yes.
For having me.
Great to meet you.
Yes,
All right.
great to meet you.
Coming up next on Ladies of Another View, we're going to look at sporting events and the usage of masks. Right after this on Ladies of a View on Beck.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Indoor football is back in Bismarck. Bucks football season is right around the corner. Grab a friend or family member for a night of action-packed, hard-hitting entertainment. The Bucks open at the Bismarck Event Center May 8th as they take on the Massachusetts Pirates. Catch the sweetest seats in the house right on the sidelines with VIP service at a Bucks turf table. Available now for single game purchases. Secure your tickets today by calling 701-595-0771. Bucks football, half the field and double the fun.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Ever been in a cave before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the car!
But how will we?
The car! Your offer's been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing.
But how will we?
The closing!
Hey everybody, I'm Doug Billings, your host of The Right Side with Doug Billings on Beck News. We bring you high-profile guests, ladies and gentlemen, exclusive guests. Now, you're not going to see these guests in most of the mainstream media outlets. Another thing that I do here is give guests a platform to speak freely. You're not going to see me censor anybody. Please join us, won't you? Weeknights right here on Beck TV and online at beck.news. Cheers.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We are just hopping all over the place today. I tell you what, but you know, when there's so many things that are so important, we got to touch them all. We're going to jump right into Utah for something different.
Yeah.
All right. So, and we hate to keep beating the mask You know, it's like we're beating a dead horse, but there are so many things that are changing around the country right now that it's just getting crazy. But finally, parents are starting to stand up to this. So take a look at this. This happened out in Utah. I'm going to show you a short clip.
You let a senator come up here and speak in the name of my children who you guys are abusing? Are you serious?
You will listen to us.
No, we've had our citizen participation. All right.
Quinter, I move that we adjourn this meeting.
I'll second. We have a motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Since they're gonna leave, you're gonna take control.
The board kept trying to regain control. The parents were not having it.
I think those people speak for most of America. We have had it. You're making up the rules as you go along. We know the dangers to kids is infinitesimal. We know 80% of the teachers have been vaccinated. And if not, they could stay home and get a substitute teacher in. And this, when you see idiocy things like this, when the governor comes out and makes his rules and they try to make sub-rules, and then you see the vice president kiss her husband goodbye outdoors with a mask on, and if Joe Biden's sitting there without a mask with Jimmy Carter and goes outside and puts his mask on again, people have had it. They know when they're being led by people who are total hypocrites or total ignorant of the new rules that they passed.
Right. And then you know what they did? You know what they did to the parents? They called the police. They called the police on the parents who simply wanted to have their voices heard. A spokesperson for the school district said this: Granite District fundamentally believes and encourages a diversity of opinions when shared in respectful and civil manner, and will continue to encourage civil discourse as a model for the children which we have stewardship over.
Oh man,
So,
I want to
pretty
meet
interesting,
a bunch of them.
right? Well, here's the deal. What had happened, the governor said he lifted the mask mandate.
Right.
But then the school said, no, we're still going to use masks. And so it's just mixed signal from business to business. There's just no rhyme or reason.
There's no continuity.
None at all.
You know,
The same
keep
thing
people
happened
guessing.
here.
Yes.
The same thing happened here. We had the mask mandate lifted, but then the parents had to go to the school board meetings, and they did finally agree, okay, the kids don't have to wear masks, but, you know, it is almost the end of the year.
Yeah.
I found that very interesting, that last line of that quote at the end there. It's always for the children, you know, but it's for the children who we have stewardship over. It's like, you have how many parents in the room? Who's the true steward of the kids?
Right.
It's not the school system, except the school system has assumed they get to take that role over more and more and more, and that's all over the nation. And I think that's one of the big rubs with this whole thing, is that the parent voices are shut down.
So if the child was misbehaving in school and terrorizing all the rest of the kids in the class, who would get the blame? It would be the parents.
Oh, no.
Because you're supposed to be in charge of your kids. You're supposed to teach your kids, and when they come to school, they're supposed to behave. But now you have a situation where the parents are trying to stand up, and they're being shut down by the government or the school boards.
Right. And you hear about the kids that come home in tears because somebody said they wore their mask wrong, or they, you know, I look at how many times masks get touched by adults, by kids. You see them, you know, laying on the ground, and then some kid will pick it up and put it back on. And how sanitary is that? And again, where are the disposal bins for this dangerous mask
Hazardous
now?
waste.
That's
They're you know, in the alleys, on the sidewalks. Don't you find masks all over
In the parking lot up at the Capitol building.
Yeah.
A graveyard
I
for
wished
used
I just
masks.
sent it in. I had a meme where it's these two mice, and they're laying on these things in the mice hole, and this big mouse comes in, and the one mouse says to the other one, said, yeah, the humans are leaving all these great hammocks laying around, and they're laying in the masks. It's funny.
Well, the problem is, regardless of what you think of masks or no masks, the kids don't wear them properly.
Correct.
So that's the biggest part of this whole issue, is even if you're for masks, you kids are not wearing them properly, and you can't expect a 5- and 6-year-old to do so.
But what is the deal with, it's proven that kids are not the carriers of this. They're not the
Correct.
spreaders of this. And yet they're the ones being made to suffer, even with the mask mandates being lifted. And we're still putting that on kids. Why? Why? And nobody wants to answer the whys. And somebody, where's the buck stops here thing anymore? It's nowhere. Well, the CDC. Well, no, your governor lifted the mask. Who's in charge? It makes me just wish that somehow there was some sense of order so that it isn't our kids that are made to suffer. That's the hard part. As a parent, how do you sit back and go, well, Johnny, you know, they just want to keep it going, so we're just going to keep it going. When that kid is coming home every day saying, I hate my mask, and he's doing behaviors at home because he can't do them at school, where's the parent left in all this? Yeah. It's wrong.
Hung high and dry.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at the school board, when they lifted the mandate, when they made the motion, they didn't say just take the masks away. They said that the masks would still be recommended. So you know that the coercion is still happening in the school system, even if it's not a have to.
Right.
And is it a follow the money thing? Is it?
Well,
is there more money out there that you're going to get it if your kids are still masked? I don't know that answer.
And the problem with that, and we keep bringing this up over and over, this federal money is not the government's money, it's your money, it's our money. So they're just regurgitating this, and we all have to pay it back. We are so far in debt. 25% of the national debt right now has been incurred in the last 1 year. So 25% of the nation's debt is from last year alone. How in the world are we going to pay this back? So when you say follow the money, let me follow the money to my own bank account and keep my money where it needs to be, and let me make my decisions on my own health. Why should the government make health and here's a carrot for you? It just doesn't make sense. It's our money to start with.
And you know, they always say, no, only going to tax the rich. The rich, the rich, the rich, the rich, the rich. If I've heard it once, I've heard it 10,000 times at least. Define rich.
Yeah.
They never define rich. And you know who gets the brunt of it is the middle class, because that's who's building this nation and always has. And I don't care what they say, that rich word is just bunk.
Well, it's always the middle class, because the really rich people have all these tax lawyers and figure out how figure out the loopholes, and then the lower economic people get all the breaks, and so it is always the middle class.
It is.
And you know, the guy we had on yesterday, Andre, who was from Venezuela, which, you know, once they became a socialist country, it really fell apart, and they couldn't even, he only could get one meal a day. They couldn't, and we had some video, but he talked about the debt that this country incurred and how they just began printing money, and that became, you know, it ended up sliding into dysfunction and
$1 was worth
chaos.
half a penny, half a penny, half a penny.
They couldn't buy anything. They couldn't afford anything. Inflation went through the roof.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And so I guess we all need to start standing up. And again, if you want to wear your mask, we're not here to judge.
That's what we're talking about, right?
Wear that
it's
mask.
It's always been about choice.
It should be about choice.
It should be about choice.
And if you want the vaccine, go ahead and get the vaccine.
Just stay away from me.
It does shed, by the way.
Yes.
And that's, you know, again, we hate to keep beating a dead horse, but there's so much information out there and misinformation.
But it's not a dead horse, because it's still alive and well. That's the problem.
And it keeps
we have to
So then if I
talking
kick
about
that
it.
horse, it might still get up.
Well, it's kicking the can down the road.
I think it's a mule. It's not a horse. It's a mule.
There you go.
Could be a donkey,
for sure.
Well, we're going to talk even coming up next, we're going to talk a little bit more about masks, but it has more to do with sports. So that's right after this on Ladies of Another View on Fact.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Watch No Filter with me, Debbie Schlussel, for no-nonsense, unfiltered analysis of the news that matters to you. You'll see engaging guests.
It began a 444-day nightmare.
Entertaining analysis, and it has everything to do with something that happened in history. And honest movie reviews. Trust me, this is just atrocious. No Filter with Debbie, weeknights at 10 p.m. Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got my pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We are going to dive into more mask talk, but this is on a different level. There's all kinds of spring sports going on, and as we all know, spring sports are normally outside. You have track, you have golf, you have all kinds of things going on. But I want you to take a look at this clip. It is an athlete, a track athlete out of Oregon. Take a peek at this.
Maggie Williams just seconds away from setting the Summit School record in the 800 meter. A moment of glory, overshadowed by this moment of concern. Williams finished in 2 minutes and 8 seconds, collapsing as she crossed the finish line.
I felt like I just wasn't being able to get a full breath, and multiple times of that happening, not being able to get enough air, I just felt super dizzy and then eventually passed out.
Williams blames her lack of oxygen on the mask she's required to wear during competition.
Clearly in the past this has never happened, and then this race that I was wearing a mask, it did happen, which I don't think is a coincidence.
Her coach echoing that belief, saying this was not a conditioning issue, it was a mask issue.
It was a different response than I've seen for kids that have collapsed to the track just because they were exhausted. She wasn't sure where she was.
Turnbull told News Channel 21 he considered not letting his athletes run again with the current guidelines in place. So he and Williams called on the Oregon Health Authority to make a change.
We were so fortunate it didn't end up in a real serious injury with Maggie, but we shouldn't gamble on the next one.
OHA listened, releasing this updated mask mandate Monday afternoon. The guidance will allow people to take off face coverings when competing in non-contact sports outdoors and maintaining at least 6 feet of distance from others and the other virus protective protocols. Turnbull calling this a win.
I feel like we're offering a safe activity for kids now.
Williams texting me her reaction, saying, "I'm very excited that some good can come out of this situation."
So isn't that something? About the only thing the mask did was it protected her face for when she fell flat on it. Can you imagine, guys?
On the ground.
And if you watch those last few seconds of her running, you can see that her legs are giving out. They're just. This wasn't one of those, because I've seen kids, flop at the end of a finish line. That does happen. This clearly was. You could tell she was just losing everything in her legs.
Turning into noodle.
And it's like, can you imagine having to run outside for half a mile with a mask on and it's 80 degrees, right?
I can't imagine, because, they're uncomfortable just sitting in a chair. I can't imagine running. And she set a record, but it probably would have even been better if she had free air
But
space.
isn't that just like locking a kid in a car in the sun in the summer? I mean, you
That's
are
an
just
excellent point. That's a good
just
point.
taking away the
Right.
the air and the temperature goes up when you wear
Good
those.
really point. You're reducing your chance of lowering your body heat.
Correct. And why is it okay in one state and it's not okay in another? It makes zero sense. There's no consistency across the United States and across some states even.
You're starting to get into common sense, and
I
you just
know,
need to
it's
knock
scary
that
thing.
off.
Settle down.
Right
That's
there.
why we have this show.
But noticing too the kind of mask she had on, I notice a lot of people who have the blue, whatever they call the ones
Medical
that are everywhere,
masks.
that a lot of them make sure that the sides are open a little bit because then you get at least a little air. But if you look at the mask she had on, it was the one that was like a cloth
Like an
mask,
N95.
flat to the face on the corners here. So there really wasn't a chance for that fresh air to even seep in a little bit, like it does on the ones that you see everybody wearing. And so that had to double her chances of having a really bad experience. And thank God she didn't get hurt. I mean, that's a hard surface that she just kind of plunged right into. She could have hit her head just right and it could have been over.
Yes.
I mean, you
She
talk
must
about a
have skinned
health
herself.
risk. I mean,
The coach said, don't gamble.
I'm glad they took away the mask mandate in competing in non-contact sports, but I don't know if you noticed, they said you had to have 6 feet distance. It doesn't always work that way.
Well,
not
in
even
track
on track.
I thought you're supposed to be next to someone for 15 minutes at 6 feet. You know what I'm saying? So that still is a flip-flop too. It's like if you're within closer than 6 feet for at least 15 minutes.
Then you're at
okay,
risk.
so if you're running by someone 6 feet from them,
but if you're sitting in a restaurant with 4 people at your table for
And
an hour
someone
and
right
a
behind
half,
you.
the virus is trained to leave you alone.
you
You can be more than 15 minutes in a close area in a restaurant.
Carmen, you're so sarcastic.
I know. But, I don't know. But, and I've watched little kids play soccer. Now, it's spring, and they're doing spring soccer. And they all during the game, they're hitting on the same ball, and they're picking it up and throwing it, and they're doing all the stuff, and they're running into each other shoulder to shoulder. They're doing their thing. At the end of the game, you cannot go through and shake hands. You have to elbow bump. Because I don't know why.
Well, and then I have another photo, and we don't need to say what the school was because every school is different. But here is, Carmen, you were at a sporting event.
Right.
And the gals are wearing face masks.
Yep, it's a traveling team volleyball league, and this happened to be in Fargo. And the thing is, they are required to wear masks the whole time while they're playing the sport. Well, the gym didn't have any air conditioning, and the longer we were in there, the hotter it got. That's when it was the nice weekend. And so it had to be, I know I'm not stretching it when I say it was at least 80 degrees in that gym. And they had those long sleeves on and those masks. And, pretty soon you could see some of the players dropped it down so that at least their nose was showing because they couldn't breathe. I mean, they just couldn't, and it was so hot. And, it gets sticky with all that sweat going on.
Sure.
But, and so they're out there and they're trying to play their best game because this is a big deal for middle school age kids that it's traveling team. It's a big deal, And I just felt sorry for them because they're good athletes and they're trying to build their skills and yet they're worried about, can I breathe?
But Carmen, you make the point that I made earlier. They're not wearing them correctly because they put them down so they could breathe, but as soon as you touch your mask, supposedly then you've contaminated it. So they're going through all this inconvenience and discomfort, but what are they accomplishing? Nothing.
And I can't tell you how many times I watched them push the mask back up on their face too.
So silly.
If we started a movement that says, I can't breathe, and start burning down buildings, do you think maybe they would get the point that I can't breathe? I can't breathe in this face mask?
I have thought about, and I can't tell you, I had
several people. I'm going to hold my tongue.
I had several people come to me and ask if I had a certain kind of aspirin because people had headaches. The players as well as some of the fans that had to sit with their masks on. And it got to the point, the longer it went on, the more fans were kind of just,
But it's not just the medical masks with all the chemicals in them that are giving them headaches. A lot of these people use tons and tons of laundry detergent when they're trying to clean the masks. And, you're breathing that in as well, and that's about almost as many chemicals as using the medical
since you brought
ones.
that up, I have got to point out, when I was doing some of this research, I ran across another story about a little boy. Well, let me back up. A nurse has decided that she is no longer going to make the kids wear their masks at school, and she's at risk of being fired for this. There was a little boy that came into her office, and he was wearing a bandana type mask. They couldn't get the mask off him. He said he had been wearing it for 2 weeks, and they couldn't untie the knot in the back, and he was crying, and they had to cut it off.
Wow.
So that's a mask.
Yes.
And now that is supposed to be safer than letting this kid sit next to someone?
No.
Right.
Not at all. And the kids are so terrorized. That's what people aren't realizing.
Yeah.
They're scared they're going to infect somebody because somebody keeps telling them that. And if it's a person of authority, so the kids don't know what else to believe, and that's just not fair.
It really
Well,
isn't.
and I know even across the state, like you said, so I know that, you know, in the eastern part of the state, there are still schools that are requiring masks. Thankfully, Bismarck-Mandan has lifted that mandate. I don't know about the rest of the state. I'm assuming a lot of the schools have lifted it, but I don't know that for sure. But as far as big schools, there's some on the eastern end of the state that still have it in place. Every day those kids are in masks, and
Parents got to
it's
stand
sad.
up.
We have
Gotta
to start
stand
standing up, or
Got to go to school.
or those that aren't standing up need to stand up, and those that are standing up need to
Get
help
louder.
others stand up, shall we say.
Right.
We've just got to get the movement going.
Well, and the
because
thing is, though, if the parents in a certain school system think the masks are a good idea for their kids, then they can stand up too. You know, they can be that voice that says, no, I want the masks to stay.
And
You
if
know,
they
can
they're
do that
safe,
too.
I almost wonder if, like, okay, this section of the classrooms are for the masked kids, and this is for the not. That's why so many. That's why so many parents are homeschooling, because they want to.
Well, the story doesn't end here, but we're going to have to end it today for that story. Coming up next, we are going to have our lighter side right after this on Ladies of Another View on Deck.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel, from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Indoor football is back in Bismarck. Bucks football season is right around the corner. Grab a friend or family member for a night of action-packed, hard-hitting entertainment. The Bucks open at the Bismarck Event Center May 8th as they take on the Massachusetts Pirates. Catch the sweetest seats in the house right on the sidelines with VIP service at a Bucks turf table. Available now for single-game purchases. Secure your tickets today by calling 701-595-0771. Bucks football, half the field and double the fun.
I'm Rick Becker from No Apologies. Welcome to your after-hours oasis of sanity.
How can these people not see that they're just clowns?
We help simplify and educate you on things going on in the legislature and around the country.
Asking the hard-hitting questions.
But also having Lee Stack and Sid and Marty Croft stuff, and we've talked about that sometimes. It's bad.
Watch us weeknights at 9 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. This brings us to our lighter side. And, you know, every day there's like a national day of this, national day of that. Sure. Well, today is actually the National Day of Prayer, and it is something that has been recognized for over 70 years. But before we get to that, I want to show this short little clip of some young ones learning their prayers. Take a look at this.
Is she? Is she? She just prayed.
She was praying, right?
Yeah. Amen? Amanda.
Any training can expand upon the light skin. And scrummy here, but and about it to the one and the one.
Now say your prayers to Jesus over. Say your prayers to Jesus over.
Good job, amen.
All right, you ready to eat? Here we got pray. Say, dear Lord, we thank you for this food and for this day. Oh, we're still praying. Amen.
I hope you make Bonnie stop crying for love is amen.
Amen. You praying for your food? Yeah. Can you pray for your food? Amen.
They all have their way of speaking
Precious.
to God.
Oh.
It's pretty fun.
Isn't it? And so children
Loved it.
imitate what they learn at home. They
There you
really
go.
do.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so those kids have been taught from the beginning that you pray before a meal.
Yeah.
And it's just so adorable. It's just so precious.
I loved the first one because they're like, look, she's praying.
It was the
All
God
just
her own.
happened spontaneously.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
cute. Adorable.
So we do celebrate the National Day of Prayer, and it's been recognized right in Washington, D.C., and I wanted to pull up a quote that I had sent. Not. That's all right. So anyway, the National Day of Prayer, they recognize it in D.C., and they also go ahead and they encourage everyone of any denomination to go ahead and do the prayers and whatnot. But have you guys...
I did not hear anything about it through media this morning, but I will admit that I was a little bit wrapped up in some other things.
Well, I read it on social media. I can't verify it, but it was from someone that I would say wouldn't post it if it wasn't true, but you never know. But they said this is the first year that they're not having a public prayer on the square in Washington, D.C. There's nothing happening
Because
in
of
D.C.
COVID,
today.
right?
Well, because
Everything
of
gets
whatever.
blamed
I'm
on
not
it.
going to go there. I won't. Yeah, never mind. Okay.
My favorite one.
Supposed to be the lighter side.
Eric Metaxas, he's done, if you look him up, he
Yes.
did just an amazing day at the National Prayer Breakfast one year. And I loved Mother Teresa's. You've all heard Mother Teresa's appearance.
She did a great job.
President Clinton had invited her, and she surprised them because she got a standing ovation for speaking out for the unborn. And there was Tipper and Al Gore and the Clintons, Hillary and Bill. They sat there while everybody else stood there giving Mother Teresa a standing ovation. So one of my favorite prayer breakfasts.
Oh, no
Right.
doubt.
Yeah.
That's amazing. take it right to it.
Yeah, as a matter of fact,
Yeah.
maybe we could find find some archived
We could probably do
segments.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
So we just have a couple minutes left. Why don't you each kind of give us your thoughts? It's not Friday yet, but just what would you like to leave our viewers with today?
I learned a lot last night, and I think that if you do something that scares you, and even if your voice shakes, stand up and say it.
Mm-hmm.
It made a difference.
Right.
We learned things, we exposed things, we found out things.
Right. And I was listening to something this morning, and it really hit me, and it said, and I actually posted it, if I can remember it, what's going on in me is more important. That's what's more important than what's happening to me.
There you go.
And I thought that kind of goes along with what you're saying, because sometimes life isn't easy and it's not all cut and dried, and you have to walk through some things that aren't comfortable, and there aren't safe spaces out in the real world. And so you just learn how, you know, and you find out that inner strength is built by those times.
On this National Prayer Day, I just want to say, let's all pray. And you know what? Let's pray for our enemies, because that's tough to do, but do it anyway. And even if your heart is having a hard time, at least your brain is making that decision, and God'll improve on your prayer. So, yep, that's what my little message is.
All right, well, I guess yesterday I brought my daughter home with her barrel racing horse. She's going to be back for a few days. They're working cattle, and then she's going back to finish up school. But I just want to remind our viewers out there that the Bismarck Bucks have their debut game right here in Bismarck.
Go
on
Bucks.
Saturday. Go Bucks. If you have any time, just go on out and check them out. Kids under the age of 18 get in free at all Bucks games. So anyway, with that being said, we thank you for joining us, and we can't wait to visit with you again next time on Ladies of Another View on Back.
Yeah.